We're back here in the final segment of the platform today with Sam Duncombe. And what is Save the Bays doing about what happened at Clifton?
Well, I mean, what we're trying to do is raise more awareness at this point in time, so that people understand the need to deal with the situation out there. We are hoping that more people will sign the petition that is on the Save the Bays website, which calls for, a cleanup of what's going on at Clifton, an Environmental Protection Act, a Freedom of Information Act, the protection, a marine park that is proposed for Southwest New Providence, and so we're really hoping to, get people up to speed in terms of what the problems are at Clifton, how they can help, and one of the huge ways that people can help is, no matter where you are in the Bahamas, if you see an oil spill, to please record it, photograph it. Date and time kind of thing, so that we can start understanding where the issues are happening. Now, obviously here, because, we're bigger, and that's another problem area, isn't it? We got Clifton that is essentially under our noses that we can't control, but we want to let BPC do oil drilling in the middle of nowhere where nobody's going to be monitoring them. And it goes right back to that whole issue of who's going to be watching them, because nobody will.
Well, right now you have huge tankers that are plying the Crooked Island Passage and in the Great Bahama Banks. No, but you have oil tankers using the sea lanes of the Bahamas. Nobody has been policing them, right?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, but I'm talking about
the people who live in those southeastern islands, in Mayaguana, Acklands, Crooked Island, and other places such, will tell you that they would have seen patches of oil on beaches before.
Well, this is important to know. But like I said, the point is, we don't know who's doing the damage as far as those spills. I mean, they may be emptying their bilges, and they've got oil and tar and all the rest of it in their bilge, right? But what I'm talking about is when you talk about actually drilling for oil, that's a messy situation in and of itself, okay? And they're going to be 24 hours away. So how are we going to deal with them? We don't need to get into that, yes. But I'm just kind of making the point. But in terms of, if you do see oil spills anywhere you are in the Bahamas, to please contact us and let us know, because we do want to know where the problem areas are. Oil is one of our key points in terms of what we want to address. And, having a Freedom of Information Act would make all of those reports that BC says they've done, make them available to the public, so that, we can start sifting through what's been going on, what's been said, what are the mitigation measures being taken, if any. We don't know. So we just know that we are being bombarded by oil. And the finger pointing thing is enormous out in the southwest of New Providence. And we'd like the companies to start taking responsibility about what's going on. Enough with finger pointing, and deal with your issue, whatever it is, clean it up.
Since we last spoke, Bimini.
Bimini.
Yes, the dredging at Bimini. Last week there was an official opening of the terminal at Bimini, where the cruise ship is coming into Bimini now. You had a problem with that, didn't you?
Of course I had a problem with that. Why would you put such a big, ugly thing on a beautiful little island like Bimini? And it's right in the path of several key dive sites that are being used by Bimini tour operators. When they had that lovely opening, they had their engines still on, and it kicked up a huge plume of sand all over the reef. So every time that boat comes in, that's what it's going to do. And eventually it's just going to smother the reef, and the reef is going to die. I mean, seriously, did they have to put it there? They couldn't have found another place where it would not impact coral reefs. I mean, something like 50% of all coral reefs are dead. But we have healthy coral reefs, and we're going to put a big, long 1,000-foot pier right next to it. So every time the boat docks, it can kick up sand and kill the reefs. It's the most insane thing I have ever heard. I just don't, and them putting a golf course in Bimini, they need to stop that. Golf is down 20% in the U.S. already. I don't know if any of the golf courses here are feeling that little pinch, but what a toxic, disgusting game that is. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I hope you don't play, but even if you do. The reality is, it's filled with toxic chemicals, herbicides, fungicides, pesticides, things to make it green, things to make every living thing on it except the grass die. And that all leaches into the groundwater and or into the sea. Is that really what we want to do? It's the same foolishness that they did.
Now, Sam, you are against golf courses too?
Long time. That is not
amazing.
news. That is not news. That is the most toxic game on the planet. I mean, when you play on, I mean, obviously you don't play in bare feet, and it's probably a good thing, but that lawn is so toxic, it's not even funny. That's the truth. I'll send you a report that I found, and it is really quite disturbing how toxic golf courses are, and we want to put one on every island, right? Because we had Albany put theirs right on top of our water lens out at Southwest. I guess between them and the industrial plant, they've just decimated any fresh water we had there. But this is the thing. That's one of the things that we need to look out for. When you want to do some sort of a development, you can't put it on top of the water lens. I'll send you another report that shows how little water, fresh water, we actually have. And then we're going to rely on reverse osmosis that requires a ton of energy to run. That plant should have been run on some other form of energy, not oil. I mean, you know, we already can't pay our fuel bills. What happens down the road? Because actually in 2009, I can't remember the country, but there was a country, one of the smaller islands, I think in the Indian Ocean, they could no longer pay for fuel. What happens if that happens to us? What happens when sea level rise really starts happening here? We are essentially drowning ourselves because, yes, as the Bahamas, we are a tiny user of fossil fuels, but every island nation in the world should get together and start making some serious noise about the industrial countries polluting the atmosphere from here to Punta Buddha and essentially causing us to have to move. There's another country in the Indian Ocean that actually just bought land in another country because their land is, their whole island is going underwater.
Yes, I saw that. There is a campaign going around now. The UN is meeting in a couple of days, or the General Assembly, and we've seen demonstrations in Australia, London, New York, about global warming.
Yes.
Are you on that particular?
Well, I don't know if you saw, but Joe Darville, from Director of Save the Bays, was in New York at the People's Climate Change demonstration. And yes, we're aware of all of these things that are going on. You just got to wonder, like, what alternate reality our politicians live in, that they're not paying attention to this and not dealing with it. This is happening.
Yeah, but how do you, as an environmentalist, square growth and development with what is happening in terms of the provision of energy and the manner in which we are developing societies?
So
you appreciate that with development must come some damage somewhere.
Absolutely.
In order for you to build a house, you have to take down some trees.
Yeah, I get you. And you know, what I see it as, you know, I'm painfully aware of the fact that everything I do every day has some impact on the environment.
Yes.
Although I keep it to the barest minimum. For example, like we were talking earlier, number one, how about a national development plan? We've been calling for a national development plan since the last Clifton fight in 2000, 1999, 2000. We need a plan. We need to look at the country. We need to see what areas are, you know, highly sensitive that need to be left alone, like the water tables, like the mangroves, all the tidal flats, where your nursery fish go. So once you've identified areas that are critically important, including your water, right? No dredging of coral reefs. So you place marinas in the least damaging place, for example, right? Not just everybody who wants one can get one. If you don't have the correct area to handle that, you don't get it. But I know, obviously you're going to have to destroy some stuff to get where we're going. But like, why aren't we seriously moving forward with renewable energy? That should be, Baha Mar, for example, should have been made to put some sort of renewable energy plant in their compound.
I think they've been discussing it, or it is in the plans of Bahamas.
Well, they should, you know, that's the other thing. Like if a resort type thing wants to come in here, they've got to create their own power. You know, they have to create their own water. Things that will help us all in the overall scheme of things, and not mess with development per se.
Yeah.
But we need to set the rules. We're letting them come in and set the rules.
But you appreciate that there's a cost
absolutely
to development,
but
an environmental cost to development.
Yes, but I also believe that it can be minimized to the greatest extent possible. Like, why are we still doing big, ugly hotels? Why aren't we doing boutique hotels that, you know, are in keeping with our land and, you know, what the land can actually carry in terms of how many people should be on it. I mean, do you want to go on vacation and go on the beach with 200-300 other people? Because I know I don't.
Sam Duncombe.
Yes.
You should be a policymaker.
Hey, I told you they don't invite me no more.
No, I'm talking about a policymaker in terms of getting elected to the Parliament of the Bahamas so that you can help to shape policy and shape legislation. What you say?
You don't think that I'm doing that now?
Are you really?
Outside?
You can do it directly in the Parliament of the Bahamas.
I think that there's got to be a way that we can do it from the outside, because you know the problem is that everybody thinks you're tainted once you become
you're tainted. Oh, I see.
When you become a politician, and I'm not really for that. You know?
I see.
I mean, the thing is.
But you think you've been effective over the years outside the Parliament, eh?
Well, I think that some things have worked, and I think that, you know, getting the public to understand the issue, which is the main thing, because we want more people to understand what's going on. We want people to understand, you know what? You mess up the earth at the end of the day doesn't care if we live on it or if cockroaches live on it, or it really doesn't matter. If we continue to destroy the natural ecosystems that allow human beings to live on this earth, we ultimately are going to pay. So I want to help people understand that, you know, loving your environment is a good thing. It gives you food, it gives you water, it allows you to do all the things you want to do in any given day. But let's give it something back. Let's be respectful of it instead of just saying, okay, well, that tree is in the way, let's chop it down. Let's think about that tree provides shade. For your house, it provides a home for birds and insects, and birds eat insects, so that's a good combination to have. We keep removing all of these natural ecosystems. Like every so often, they keep coming through Adelaide, spraying God knows what for the mosquitoes. Well, the reality is that you're also killing the lizards and the birds and the fish and it's like insane.
And you are also doing some things to the trees, the blossoms on the trees. Eh?
Well, you poison the earth
Yes.
when you spray all those chemicals. When we hemorrhage oil out of the industrial area at Clifton, we're poisoning the sea.
But you have to spray for those mosquitoes that perhaps will give you malaria, Sam Duncombe.
You know,
Huh?
I got dengue before.
But you don't want to get dengue every year.
No, I don't.
Okay.
No, I don't.
So you got to spray, Sam
Okay,
Duncombe.
but see, the thing that I believe, every house that I've lived in, I've kept a big pond. Not even a pond. A bowl full of water that tadpoles, well, frogs go in and lay their eggs, turn into tadpoles. The tadpoles eat the mosquito larvae. Natural repellent.
Okay, I got to go. But thank you so very much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
You make a wonderful guest, and we learn so much when you come on our program. So thank you so very much. Thank you for watching and listening to our program today with Sam Duncombe. Good evening, everyone.